In today's video, I want to answer a question that some of you are thinking about, because I've seen these type of comments a lot on my channel, and here it is. How would a recreational player of 4.5 or a 5.0 do against a Grand Slam champion from the past, like a Jimmy Connors, like a Laver, or a John McEnroe? So in today's video, I want to explain to you that there's nothing greater in tennis than the gap between the recreational level and the high level. It is far bigger than, let's say, a low level, high level player. Let's just say, for example, someone with 1 ATP point compared to someone who's ranked #1 in the world. The gap between the player with 1 point and the player that's ranked #1 is smaller than the gap between a recreational player, let's say even at a 5.0 level, to someone who is a high level player, let's say a 5.5. That gap is the biggest thing there is in tennis. So it's not going to be a surprise when I tell you that a recreational player has absolutely no chance against a Grand Slam champion from the past. Of course, if we're talking about someone like Becker, he really can't walk anymore properly. His body is completely ruined. But I still feel like Becker, even though he can't walk, he still will manage to find a way to win against a recreational level player. Or somebody like a Laver, who also has a hard time walking. That's a whole different story. Or Jimmy Connors, who had many surgeries. But somebody who's really fit, and we're going to use today's video as an example, is Johnny Mac.
Yeah,
I'm going to say a word. You're not going to like this word, but it's lazy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's very lazy to hit slices. It takes a little more effort to do a one-handed backhand. It's not the end of the world to hit a slice, but it's never going to be a situation where you can turn defense into offense.
It's just
okay?
a John McEnroe shot.
Not necessarily. John McEnroe can hit backhand winners on the run. It's not a John McEnroe shot at all.
Well, his nowadays slice.
Not even nowadays. If you watch John McEnroe, if he played you, he'd be ripping backhand winners all day long, dude. He wouldn't get a point. There's absolutely no chance that a recreational player can even get games against John McEnroe. You have to understand that the quality of play, even though this is old school tennis, McEnroe used to play with wooden rackets when he first started. The level of tennis, when we're talking about high level tennis or professional tennis, is so high. It doesn't matter that it was many years ago. The skill set that these players possess, the amount of muscle memory they have stored in their system, the amount of experience they have, the thousands of matches that they've played, you don't even realize how good that level is. See, what happens with a lot of casual viewers, they are used to watching the players now. They're used to watching Zverev, Medvedev, Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, and so on. And then they see some of these older guys, and it looks a lot slower, of course. I agree with you, it does look a lot slower, but it is absolutely deceiving. If you took a look at Johnny Mac, the way he plays now, he still plays at an incredibly high level. But see, I'm a huge John McEnroe fan, and I listen to a lot of his interviews to this day. And I've heard him recently say that he does lose to a lot of the pros at his academy in New York. So it is true that John McEnroe's level has dropped off, and he can absolutely lose a set to a high level player. Many of the pros that work at his academies are former college players, and there are a lot of high level players in general that work there. So of course John McEnroe will have a very difficult time competing at the current level of tennis. There's no argument about that. But you have to realize, like I told you in the beginning of the video, that gap between the rec level and the high level is something that can't be made up. See, I made a video a while back about what the highest level is that you can achieve as a recreational player. And it is absolutely true that a lot of recreational players will top out at the 5.0 level. And I'm not trying to be mean, but what the 5.5 level is, and I don't want to get too fixated on levels, let's just call it the high level of tennis. Somebody that is capable of making money by playing matches, somebody that is capable of playing for a good Division I team, somebody that is capable of maybe winning matches in a futures qualifying. That is a high level player. And someone like that has invested their entire life into playing tennis. And even though it might sometimes not look that good, because again, you are comparing it to the absolute elite. So compared to the absolute elite, a player like that might not necessarily look that great. So you might be a little bit deceived in thinking, oh, okay, I'm a good recreational player, I might have a chance. But I'm telling you, the reality is something different. You absolutely do not stand a chance. Why not? Because you haven't put in the time. You haven't invested your entire life into tennis. You don't have the hours of practice. You don't have all that muscle memory stored. But that's not it. You also don't have the match experience. And you just can't make that up. And for that reason, there's nothing in tennis that's greater than the gap between the recreational level and the high level. And look, I have great respect for all levels of play. In fact, I deal with the recreational level. That is my specialty. Yes, I do coach high-level players. I coach some professional players as well. But my specialty is the recreational level. And when recreational players come to me and they ask me about their game, I always compliment them. I always tell them how good they are relative to their level. So I can compliment a 2.5 player, a 3.0, and I can also compliment a 5.0 player as being a great player. But here is where I draw the line. There's some rec players who are a little bit delusional and they want to tap into my field, the high level. I used to play high level tennis. So when they come at me that way, I gotta put them in their place. And I know that whatever I say in this video is not gonna have any effect on many of the trolls that are out there online insulting the coaches, but it's not only the coaches, they're insulting professional players as well. It's all over social media. This is something that's very common and something that can be frustrating at times because we as players, we don't know the level of these players, but most likely it's a level that's very poor. But these trolls online, they talk a big game. They will insult me very frequently saying that I have horrible technique. If you want to know more in detail about that, you can check out my video titled "Why Are My Strokes So Ugly?" where I explain the situation with so many people insulting me online. So I'm going to make the trolls an offer today in this video. Here's what I used to do when I worked in clubs. I used to have this thing called Beat the Pro. So basically, all the rec players that are confident enough and they think they can beat somebody like myself, they have the chance. Listen, don't just talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk. So Beat the Pro was something that I've always done. I've never lost, by the way. And there was a lot of 5.0s that challenged me. I never lost even a single set. And the way Beat the Pro worked back in the day was that if you came to the court with me as a rec player and you lost, you have to pay me for my lesson. And so it's going to work the same way. I'm going to challenge you guys out there who are willing to take me on the court, and I'm going to make it easy for you guys because I'm older, I'm a little bit out of shape, my ankle hurts, my shoulder hurts. I'm a shadow of a player that I used to be, so I think you might have a pretty good chance. But here's the caveat. If you come here, well, of course we're going to record this and we're going to put it on YouTube, but if you lose, you got to pay me for a private lesson, which costs $300 an hour. So anybody that's willing to take this offer, I'll get in touch with you and we'll get it set up. This is going to be Beat the Pro, the YouTube version.